This is the 6th video in an 8-video series where we're creating a single project log report from scratch. These training videos correspond to a series of help articles. If we go to Corecon Help, to Settings, to Custom Log Report Templates, and scroll down, we've already completed the first 4 steps as separate videos. We've also completed a video adding grouping and totals to our custom log style report created from scratch. And in this training video, we're going to be adding a visible report parameter filter. This will be the first of 2. We're going to find that report with a project selected, and in the procurement module, I'm going to go down to purchase orders and reports. Then we'll switch the view from standard to custom. And this is the report we finished in the last training video. And I'm going to click the Edit Report. Then I'm going to save the report as, I'm going to call it version 2. And click Save. Again, this is a custom log style report created from scratch related to the purchase order logs. And so far, this is the first parameter that we're adding that will enable us to filter the data on the custom log report. The filter that we're going to add is the ability to filter by the purchase order type. This is a classification that's set up in Corecon's global settings. First thing we'll do is add a data set for this new parameter. To do that, we're going to go to the data icon on the toolbar. The primary data set for our report so far we've called DSPOS. Now we're going to add a new data set. We'll switch to existing, pull down the data source, which you should see the numbers which correspond to your Corecon account or org ID, and click Connect Database. Next, we're going to go in and pull out the view we need. We'll go and drill down on these views, and we need the database table or view called PO info. And we're just going to drag that onto the palette. Next, we want to rename this data set, and we're going to call it DS for data source, PO for purchase order, and then types. And that's plural. Next, we're going to toggle the code. This is the default SQL code, and we're going to replace that with something new. I am going to just go right before the first line, and I'm going to hit the return or enter key a few times because there's a little bit of this we're going to save. I'm going to go into the select statement, hit enter, and then I'm going to create the all option. One of the options you'll see based on the custom list that I've created is a material supplier, an equipment supplier, and we also want to be able to have an option to select all. So the code will be select in capital letters, all, capital AS for as, and then open bracket, PO type, close bracket. I'm going to select enter 2 more times, type the word union, all in caps. And then the next part is select distinct PO type. This will allow SQL to return a distinct entry in the view we're going to create. Next, enter from in capital letters, a few spaces, and we're going to need this next statement. So we're going to take out the open bracket, the close bracket, that open bracket, and all of this stuff at the end. So we're going to select, this should say distinct. We're going to select a distinct PO type from the data view PO info. Next line is where, and we'll use this next line of data as well. We'll just incorporate that. So where the view PO info, take out the brackets again, project ID equals at project ID. This will allow the report to reference only the single project we've selected when we open the report. And then we're going to add order by PO type. And we won't need any of this other information, so we're just going to scroll to the bottom and delete all of that. And then I'll just clean this up a little bit. Alright, so we're going to select all. That sets the all option in the pull down that we're going to create. And we're going to select the distinct PO type from the view PO information, where the PO information dot project ID being the field, is equal to the at project ID. And I'm also going to correct that. That's a lowercase d. And it'll be in order by PO type. Then I'm going to go to the top and click Finish. Next, we're going to add a visible report parameter. To do that, we're going to go to the parameter icon in the toolbar. We'll click on the new parameter, and we're going to rename this. We're going to call this PO type. We're going to type that like we did in the data source. And we'll also call this PO type for the prompt. The data type is going to be a string, and we need to make sure that the visibility says visible. Next, we'll click Assign Values. Notice that there's two tabs. One is available value, one is default value. We're going to set the available value to query value, and we're going to select the DSPO types from the data set, the value field, and the label field. Before we click OK, let's go over to the default value tab and click Specify, and then click Add. And we're going to replace the default that's there by typing the word all, A-L-L. Then we'll click the OK button, and then over under the parameter, we're going to click Save. Now you can see a new parameter has been added. Now we also need to modify the main data set and add a where clause. To do this, we're going back up to the data icon, and this is the data set we just created, but we need to go back and edit the main data set that we used to create the report. We're going to click on these three small dots and click the word Edit. We're going to go all the way to the bottom of the code, and we're going to add a few lines just to give us some room. And we're going to add the report parameter filter. So the from clause and the where clause have already been added. We're going to add a filter to this where clause. We'll add the word and parenthesis 1 space equals space case when at PO type equals all, then one else. Return case when dbo dot vw for view underscore PO info dot PO type equals at PO type, then 1 else, and that's a 0, end close parenthesis. I'm going to go back and just make sure I typed all this correctly. And 1 equals case when at PO type equals all, then else, then 1 else, case when DBO dot, oh, there, made another mistake, VW underscore PO info dot PO type equals at PO type, then 1 else 0 end. And some of this information can be seen in the help article that corresponds to this training video. Then we'll click Finish. Now we'll click Save Report, and let's take a look at what we've created. We'll go back to the report list, switch to Custom. This is the one we just added, version 2. Now the report that we created in previous videos appears, and we've defaulted the PO type to all, but now we can change that. Let's go down and select only purchase orders that have been tagged to the material PO type and click View Report. And that information has been filtered. So that's all we're seeing. If we wanted to go back and see all, we just switch this back to all, click View Report again.